the whole point is he learned from those things. Then by the time he came back to Apple, he had learned enough lessons about negotiation, about clarity, about how to interact with people that were stronger than they were initially.
Do you agree with that?
No. I think the Macintosh predated the learning. What was, to me, fundamental is, did he learn? Did he become less brutal to people he worked with? Absolutely, because I've seen Steve be brutal. And Steve was brutal because he desperately wanted it to be great. He wanted Apple to be great, and he wanted the product to be great, and he wanted you to be great. And if you weren't doing your best work, he was upset. He was angry. He was, because if we do this right, we can build something that's so great, we can't screw this up. And you saw him take the Macintosh and finish the Macintosh, or even before that, the Apple II, but then the actual delivery of the Macintosh, which was an enormously difficult project that he got through by a combination of his leadership, which was again, he was a young man. He was a very young guy, and he was tough on the people around him. He tempered that. He understood that people did not enjoy being made to feel like they were failing, that they weren't doing a good enough job. People don't like that. People don't come to work to understand I'm not doing a good job. They didn't find that inspirational, and he learned. He was more compassionate, and he was a nicer person. And as we all get older, I think we all learn to be a little more empathetic. But I think the essentials of his genius. I think that was finishing school. And it's very important as human beings, because that was a much nicer Steve to deal with on a daily basis. But the essentials of his genius was there from the very beginning.
Well, I would agree with that, but I think the Macintosh, which was so clearly far superior to what Windows was, didn't win because those other elements weren't there. And when I say Steve learned, because he had that genius, I agree there, but he learned those other skills, so by the time he got back to Apple, he was able to take the superior product and basically blow it forward because he was no longer weak in those other areas.
Yeah, no, I think he lost his job probably because he didn't negotiate with the board well enough. I mean, so I agree that he made himself vulnerable because he relied so much on what he did and how brilliantly he did it, that he expected the Apple board to recognize that he was kind of irreplaceable, that Apple had more need of him than he had need of Apple, kind of thing, which was some quote Napoleon said about France. But the Apple board didn't like the way he behaved. Now look at the young geniuses in Silicon Valley right now. If they don't like their boards, they fire their boards. Larry Page and Sergey Brin, if they don't like the board, get rid of them. If Mark Zuckerberg doesn't like his board, get rid of him. To some degree, I think that's a result of what Apple did to Steve. As a young man, the Apple board made a terrible mistake because of his, if you will, some superficial personality characteristics. He wasn't as nice to the board members, perhaps, as they would. He wasn't as politic. He didn't learn, to smooth out those rough edges, and that cost him his job and almost cost Apple its existence when they got rid of him. So he got better at that. But no, to me, I mean, from a very young man, this was an extraordinary guy, and you could see it from the very beginning.
So if you were just talking about some of the younger major leaders, but still young in the Valley, in tech.
They don't trust their boards anymore. They don't trust. It's very interesting. If the board of directors can fire Steve Jobs, it is interesting. I mean, Larry Page and Sergey Brin have control of Google. They can fire the board can't fire them. Mark Zuckerberg has control of Facebook. They can fire the board can't fire them. I think this is the Steve Jobs, Apple dismissing Steve Jobs in favor of a guy whose only track record was flavored water, was such an incredible mistake. Why should they trust these guys? Why should Zuckerberg and Page trust these guys?